Is the Las Vegas housing market crashing? With 77% more homes available compared to this time last year, some people think the sky is falling, and I can understand why. But as someone who watches the market regularly, daily, in fact, I'm here to tell you that actually it's not a collapse, it's a correction. And that's important because it actually presents a golden opportunity if you're a serious buyer and you're ready to make a move now. Stick around for this video and then hopefully you'll feel the same way. And if not, you can always pop that in the comments below. There's a lot of noise out there, and as I said, some people are convinced the Las Vegas housing market is toast. But let's try and separate the fiction and the fact, or the fact from the fiction, whatever way you want to slice it. Let's try and have a look at what's out there and what that actually means as well. Yes, inventory is surging. Yes, price cuts are happening, but the demand is still there. Buyers are just being more cautious, and rightly so. But definitely from a personal level, I don't feel like I've slowed down in business, and I look at the numbers and the numbers are still up across the board as well. So the demand is still there. I think everyone is just maybe holding on and waiting for that right opportunity, and I think it can sometimes be the right way to play it. The reality is though that we're finally moving away from a hyper seller focused market. And that's actually a good thing for buyers, because that means you are probably now in a position to get a home that might be less than what it was listed at, or getting some concessions from the seller as well. And also it goes on to new construction, and builders also know that they have a lot more homes to compare with on the resale market because there's more inventory. So they're also offering more incentives and price reductions on homes that maybe they've finished or close to finished. You might not get to pick everything that's in there, but those standing inventory homes with builders are also seeing quite good reductions, and it definitely gives you as a buyer some great opportunities as well. So let's talk about why this is maybe a correction and not a collapse. And if we talk numbers, the median value of a home that was sold in the Las Vegas area is actually up. It's up 5.1%, and the average price of a home sold is around $442,000. So that's not a fire sale. That's not like, oh my gosh, everyone's losing money. That's actually a healthy correction if you ask me, and I think we probably needed it somewhat in this market. And again, the key message is it still presents some great opportunities, because homes will continue to appreciate, maybe just not at the rate that we've seen over recent years. Las Vegas is now moving towards a more balanced market, and certain parts of Henderson, certain parts of West Las Vegas are all starting to move away from this hyper seller focused model to where the sellers were almost controlling the prices in those areas, to where now actually it's a bit more evenly balanced, and probably not fully a buyer's market, not fully a seller's market. And I think that's the best case. That's the sweet spot for a healthy market, if I'm being honest. And I think some of those homes that have been sitting on the market, and maybe from sellers that are still feeling that they're in the previous market where they could ask a bit more money, maybe they're not being educated by their realtor what's actually going on in the local market, or maybe they just don't want to hear the information and don't want to hear the facts. But the facts are there, and I can see the facts, and I'm sure you guys can see the facts as well. And if you're a potential homeowner who is looking at selling your home, I think maybe you can also reach out and I can give you an honest opinion, an honest price point of where we should list your home, because all of the homes I've listed, we've had offers relatively quickly, because I don't mess around and overprice homes just to get the listing. I don't overpromise and underdeliver. I try to go the opposite way, underpromise and overdeliver, and I think that's the best case to be. And that's all what I think is happening with these numbers. Is, as I said, it's just a correction, not really a collapse. We're definitely not going to see a collapse, but it's just a correction. And then certain zip codes are seeing it and feeling it more than others as well. And I think if you're not in the Las Vegas area, I think we're seeing this nationally as well. We're not seeing these massive bidding wars, or obviously we're not seeing massive bidding wars here, but I'm also not seeing it across the US either. So I'm sure in your state as well, it's going to be pretty similar. We're not seeing those bidding wars. We're seeing more seller concessions coming into play as well. And that's just reflective of what's happening here. So let's now talk about the buyer's power and why that is growing. So for buyers, this is obviously huge. We've gone from around about 2.5 months of supply late last year to around 3.7 months supply as of June this year. And what that supply means is if there was no more homes listed in that period of time, that's how long it should take for all of those homes to sell. So with obviously more homes sitting on the market, and obviously sitting there maybe a little bit longer as well, that means sellers have to be aware of this. Sellers have to know know this, and if they are motivated to sell for us starting off, if they are maybe moving out of state themselves and they're in a need to sell, they need to know all of this as well. And that's the chance then for you to get maybe a better price or better concessions to help maybe bring your interest rate down if you are financing it. It's giving you as a buyer more power. And I think, as I said, so far all these numbers that I've gone through on here have all can be positive if we look at them in a positive light. More inventory is going to obviously mean more choices, and if you've got more choices, then you're going to make the best decision for you, and B, the sellers don't have a monopoly on their home, because you're going to be looking at 5, 10, maybe 15 homes that are all similar, maybe in a similar community, and you're going to go with the right one, that maybe the one that's priced correctly, also looks in the best condition, so there's going to be less expenses after you close, and maybe everything, just the layout and the floor plan works for you as well. So sellers have to be aware of this, and you have to also be ready to capitalize on this as well. In terms of seller credits, recently I've seen sellers giving 10, 20,000 in terms of credits. All of my buyers always get a home warranty paid for by the seller, and some sellers are putting in brand new appliances as well, just anything that they can do to sweeten the deal and obviously not affect their bottom line that they want to walk away from. So it really is a good time, especially as we're coming towards the end of summer. Now would probably be a good time to start looking, if you are serious and you are in a position to move. See if it's going to work for you, see if there is an opportunity there for you. If there isn't right now, then that's also okay, but I think it'll be wise to try and look into that. Okay, let's talk about interest rates, because I've also had a lot of clients recently, or potential clients reach out, and one thing holding them back is interest rates. And I get it, interest rates are still high. We were all hoping they were going to come down, and if anyone says yes, I know what's going to happen with the interest rates, and I'm going to call them a big fat liar, because nobody can guarantee or predict with absolute certainty what's going to happen with the interest rates. Mortgage lenders, other realtors, everyone was hoping they were going to come down significantly by now with the change of president and a bit more so-called stability. But it hasn't happened for one reason or another. And if you are waiting and thinking, I've seen the homes that I like, but I'm just really waiting on the interest rates to go down, I would urge a little bit of caution there as well, because I can guarantee you're not the only one who is saying that and thinking that. And what will tend to happen is when those interest rates do come down, let's say mid fives, which is still not as low as they were a few years ago, but even mid fives, if we get to 5.5%, what's going to happen is buyers are going to flood back onto the market, especially those who feel like they missed out last time. That's going to flood the market, so we'll have a whole wave of demand from potential buyers. Sellers are then going to start getting confident again that they can actually get top dollar or maximum money for their home. They're going to stop giving those discounts, stop giving those concessions, and they're going to know that then now it's gone back into a seller's market. Interest rates are always going to be a thing that you can always refinance down the road. If it's a home that you're going to be in for a while, you can always refinance it when the rates hit a good level for you. Or at the moment, as I've said already, you can always negotiate seller concessions and use that to buy the rate down as well. And if you reach out to me, or if you've got a good realtor that you work with already, get them to put you in touch with their mortgage guy. I'll put you in touch with my mortgage person if you reach out to me, and they can also run through numbers and how much maybe we should ask from the seller to bring your rate down to maybe a 5.5%, if that's going to work for you. And if rates are important, I get it as well. My rate here is quite high because we purchased the home last year when the rates were definitely higher than they are now. But sometimes if the home is right and the price is right, that's better than maybe the mortgage and the interest rate being correctly. Because I know from my own mind, I would rather pay a higher mortgage and pay less in terms of the value of the home, knowing that I can refinance that home if the rates do go down, rather than walking into negative equity, can't even say that word, and paying over the actually appraised value. So coming more out of pocket with cash and paying over the appraised value of a home, because there's a lot more buyers looking for it. It becomes a bidding war. So it's all about picking your poison at the end of the day. I don't think it's going to be very close to try and get both of those in the perfect world. Okay, so let's try and put all that together and try and land the plane on what I'm hopefully trying to convey in this video. And what I am seeing from buyers is a lot of fear, a lot of being afraid to take the chance now. And I get that, I understand that. Everyone wants to make the right time, and sometimes people aren't in a position where they can wait. Maybe they got a job offer they have to move here for, and they need to buy now, and that's understandable as well. But a lot of other times I'm having these conversations, and what I'm hearing is a fear of wanting to make that jump right now. And what I would say is, with fear comes also also opportunity, and it's the word I've been using a lot in this video is opportunity. And I think if we look back at 2012 and especially 2020, I think there was a lot of fear then as well for different reasons. But those people that weren't afraid, those people that did take that jump in and then were committed to it, they've actually seen some incredible equity gains. Now, I'm not going to dress it up and say we're guaranteed to see similar equity gains, but I think there's still that air of opportunity now because a lot of people are afraid, a lot of people are fearful, which is counteracting then on the market, and sellers are aware that there's less maybe serious buyers that are ready to actually pull the trigger now, and that's where that opportunity comes. I think if you took the time, if you reached out to me and said, you know, Peter, this is what I'm looking for, this is my budget, and we found homes that fit that budget, I'm sure we can maybe get you a good deal as well. I'm not saying we're going to get an absolute steal where you're going to walk into 100k equity, because I'm not going to overpromise you, but I think there's areas of opportunities where we can maximize on some of the data that we've already seen. Maybe we'll write the offer and we'll send comps, and unless the home is priced correctly, and then it shouldn't be sitting for a long time anyway, but I'll send comps when I send the offer that then back up what we're saying and why we're offering below or why we're going to ask for seller credits, and then hopefully at the end of the day that's going to give you a better home at a better price point, and ultimately you're going to be happy with your decision. So hopefully you found this video useful. Hopefully it's given you some food for thought with those numbers. If you are on the fence and maybe you're thinking should I or shouldn't I, then definitely reach out on the contact details below. We can have a talk offline, and if you still think it's not the right time for you, then 100% I'm not ever going to push you to make a decision you're not comfortable with. But you know, after that we can stay in touch and I can keep you up to date with what's going on locally, and then you can always decide if and when the right time is to jump in. But if you are thinking, oh, maybe I would love to snag a deal, I think there's going to be opportunities now to snag a deal. And the same thing, if you just reach out to me, I can set you up on a list of property lets that suit what you're looking for, and maybe do ones that have just been reduced in price and things like that as well, so you get to see them first before anyone else. And then when we are looking at homes, you know, I'll always give you my honest feedback on those homes as well, and what we could or should potentially offer compared to what's going on in the market as well. So if that sounds like someone you'd like to work with you, someone on your side who's going to work for you to get you the best terms possible, again, please do reach out. And if you have liked this video and it has been somewhat useful, then please like, comment below and tell me what you're feeling about the market or what you're feeling about the market, and then also subscribe and tap the bell for notifications, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.